You're in the middle of the worst week of your life. Emails piling up, deadlines breathing down your neck, a text from someone you'd rather not deal with. And what do? You reorganize your sock drawer, not by color, by thickness, and somehow that fixes everything. Here's the thing nobody tells you. That's not weird. That's not avoidance. That's your brain running a very specific, very ancient piece of software, and once you understand why it does this, you'll never look at a clean countertop the same way again. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's happening in your mind and body when cleaning feels like therapy. You'll know why some people need a tidy space to function and why others genuinely don't. And you'll understand, backed by actual neuroscience and psychology, why your brain essentially treats a messy room like a threat to your survival. We're going to cover the dopamine loop your brain runs every time you finish a task, the real reason people stress clean, what a UCLA study found about clutter and your stress hormones, why organizing is basically creativity in disguise, and the one question that determines whether your cleaning habit is healthy or not. No fluff, just the real stuff. Let's start with what's actually happening upstairs when you walk into a messy room. Your brain, this magnificent, overcomplicated machine, does not see a pile of clothes on the chair. It sees unfinished business, and unfinished business to the brain is a problem that needs solving. Right now, a real study out of UCLA tracked women living in cluttered homes and found they had measurably elevated cortisol, the stress hormone, throughout the entire day. Not just in the morning, not just when they looked at the pile. All day, their bodies were quietly, constantly stressed just from existing near the mess. Research from Princeton University confirms that clutter reduces focus and makes it harder to process information because your visual system is working overtime, scanning and cataloging everything that's out of place. So when you walk into a cluttered room and feel that low-grade anxiety you can't quite explain, you're not being dramatic. Your brain is genuinely running an error check, and it can't stop until the error is resolved. That's why when you finally clean it up, even just one corner, cortisol levels drop by up to 27% compared to cluttered spaces. Your brain goes, threat neutralized, and you breathe again. Now here's where it gets genuinely interesting. Because it's not just about removing stress. Cleaning adds something too. Every time you complete an organizing task, fold a shirt, clear a shelf, wipe a counter, your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical. The same one that fires when you eat something you love, or win something, or get a like on a post. Dopamine increases during and after cleaning activities. It's like a natural mood boost, triggered by the simple act of putting things in order. And here's the twist. Your brain doesn't really care how significant the task was. Made the bed? Dopamine. Organized the junk drawer nobody opens? Dopamine. Rearranged the pantry so that the labels all face forward? Standing ovation from your nervous system. This is why cleaning feels weirdly productive even when you had 10 other things you were supposed to be doing. Your brain got paid. It doesn't ask questions. Completing a decluttering task triggers dopamine, making us feel satisfied and motivated. And that satisfaction is real. That's not a trick you're playing on yourself. That's biology. The problem is, and we'll get back to this, that dopamine is also the reason the habit can tip from healthy into something else entirely. But more on that in a minute. Let's talk about the most recognizable version of this. Stress cleaning. You had a bad day. Someone said something. Life felt messy and uncontrollable, and before you even consciously decided to do it, you were already scrubbing the kitchen. Cleaning can offer a sense of structure and relief when life gets overwhelming. The act has clear steps and a visible result, which can feel reassuring when everything else feels so unpredictable. That's the key word, predictable. You know exactly how cleaning starts. You know exactly how it ends. The shirt goes in the drawer closes. Done. Your emotional life, your inbox, your situationship? Not so predictable. So your brain, brilliant, problem-solving, slightly exhausted, finds the one domain where cause and effect still work perfectly, and it runs there. Psychologists call this behavioral control when internal chaos is too overwhelming. We regulate by exerting control over external things. Stress cleaning is usually a reaction to feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or emotionally unsettled. And most of the time, that's completely fine. It's a healthy, physical way to process emotion. You're literally moving your body, releasing tension, creating visible progress. That's not avoidance, that's coping. The only time it becomes a problem is when cleaning is the only tool you have. When you're organizing your bookshelf instead of having the conversation. When the spotless house is the thing standing between you and feeling something. The question isn't whether you clean when stressed. The question is, what would you do if you couldn't? Here's one that surprises people. People who love organizing are often not the rigid, uptight perfectionists you might picture. They're frequently highly creative people with very active inner lives, and organizing is how that creative energy finds an outlet. Think about it. When you organize a space, you're making hundreds of small decisions. What stays, what goes where, and how does it look? Does this feel right? That's not chores, that's design, that's curation. The ability to complete physical activity while organizing can enhance creativity by allowing the mind to wander. Rhythmic, low-demand tasks, folding, sorting, wiping, free up your default mode network. That's the part of your brain that generates ideas, makes connections, and daydreams productively. This is why so many people report that their best ideas come to them while cleaning. It's not a coincidence. The hands are busy, so the mind gets to wander. And it comes back with things. A clear space literally gives your brain permission to think bigger because it's no longer spending processing power cataloging visual noise. Without the visual reminder of chores to do, you can focus better on creative projects. So the next time someone tells you that cleaning is mindless, tell them that's exactly the point. Now, important, none of this means that people who don't care about tidiness are lazy, broken, or living wrong. Because there's a significant chunk of the population whose brains genuinely process visual information differently. For them, a little mess is just texture, background, irrelevant. There's no one-size-fits-all approach. What matters is how your environment makes you feel. Some people's brains thrive in what looks like chaos to others. Their ideas live in the piles. Their creative system requires having 12 things visible at once. The difference, and research backs this, is individual sensitivity to cortisol and how your nervous system has learned to read your environment. Women in particular experience a stronger physiological stress response to clutter and a stronger relief response to order. But it varies enormously by individual, history, and even what phase of life you're in. What matters isn't the cleanliness. What matters is whether your space supports how you function. Here's the deepest layer, and the one people don't usually talk about. Your relationship with cleaning isn't just about your personality. It's about where you came from. People who grew up in unpredictable homes where emotions were unstable, where things changed without warning, where calm was rare, often develop a deep need for physical order as adults. Not because they're control freaks, because as kids, a clean, organized space was one of the few things that felt safe, stable, theirs. The tidy room became the place where nothing bad was happening. And that emotional memory doesn't go away. It gets encoded. So as adults, they recreate that feeling, not out of habit, but out of a quiet, automatic need for safety. On the other side, people who grew up in homes where cleaning was associated with criticism, pressure, punishment, where mess meant consequences, often have a complicated relationship with tidying. For them, the act carries weight. Cleaning can feel like it's about coping, a way to express emotions through movement rather than speech. Neither response is wrong. Both make complete sense when you know the history. Your past quietly writes the rules. The good news is, now that you know the rules, you can start rewriting them. Okay. So we've established that cleaning is genuinely good for your brain, your stress hormones, your creativity, your mood. All of that is real and backed by research. But here's the part that actually matters. The transition from healthy cleaning habits to obsessive behaviors happens gradually, often beginning with heightened anxiety about cleanliness. Research from the International OCD Foundation shows that 25% of people with OCD experience cleaning-related compulsions. So how do you know which side of the line you're on? One question: does cleaning give you peace, or does it just delay panic? If you clean and afterward you feel genuinely lighter, calmer, more yourself, that's the healthy version. Your brain got the signal it needed. Reset complete. If you clean and within 20 minutes the anxiety is building again and you're already looking for the next thing to fix, the next surface to wipe, the cleaning isn't creating calm. It's just keeping something at bay. One comes from care, the other comes from fear, and both can wear the same apron. The awareness alone is most of the work, because once you know which one you're doing, you can choose differently. So here's what we actually learned today. Your brain is running ancient software that reads mess as threat and order as safety. That's not quirky. That's neuroscience. Clutter raises cortisol. Order drops it. Completing tasks releases dopamine. Rhythmic cleaning unlocks creativity. And stress cleaning is a legitimate emotional regulation tool, just not the only one you should own. People who love organizing aren't controlling. They're not uptight. They're people whose nervous systems have learned that a clear space means a clear mind. And that is not a flaw. That's just how some brains work. And if you're someone who never cared about tidiness and is watching this wondering, what's wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with you. Your brain just has different settings. The goal has never been to have the cleanest home. The goal is to have a space where your brain can actually rest. Now I want to hear from you. Drop in the comments. Do you stress clean? Or does mess genuinely not bother you? Because I promise the comments section on this one is going to be a psychological goldmine.